mic's over there. That's gone well. That starting screen is supposed to give me time to get ready, get prepared. I just wasted it by looking at my chocolate milk. So we'll just have to crack on. Hi. I want to first say thank you to Nigel for the start. I'll show you the starting screen again. Look at this. Look at this.
Want it? Don't talk.
There's me again. That's cool, isn't it? Thank you, Nigel. Thank you. I only just opened my email yesterday. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Got a green hat on today. Blue background. What do you think of the green hat? Do you like that? I left the tag on because it's kind of Johnny Depp, isn't it? And I've been walking the dog. I had a shower and then I went walking the dog, so my hair's been blow dried by nature, natural blow dry. So I look a bit wild. And I thought I just got a hat. So we've got that hat. We got this one. That's the Ganji Kid hat. And this is the Ganji Kid top hat. So now we've got two hats. And I've got the Sentry's cap as well, haven't I? But the cap I'm not so happy with because it kind of covers my eyes and I don't think that's a good look for stream, really. I want to be able to see you. Yeah. This is the one for when I've got the mad hair. This is the mad hat, look. Let's get that. Pulling my eyes back with it when I'm just pulling it, this automatic facelift there. So I look normal. So I can, this is a good, just trying to refine my look for stream. bring in the, there's the hat. So still got the tag on. So someone might be able to win that in a giveaway or something. It's been on my head now. Give that a scrub on the inside. I don't know, my hair's clean because I've had a shower. So, right, I keep looking at myself in the old picture. Oh, take my breath away. Da-na-na, da-na-na. And here we are. Let's do the introduction, shall we? Let's do that. Hi, it's Scott. Do you know, every time I do that, it always looks fine on stream. Let's just check you can hear me do the old. See, when I watch the stream like that, it looks fine. It looks absolutely fine to me. I'll do this. Not that wasn't intentional. I need to unmute it when I do it. Ready? And it looks damn near perfect when I'm watching that stream. I've got a button and I can shift the audio like along or, like buffer it slightly to have it sync in nicely with the video because they're separate feeds, aren't they? The video and the audio. But I've done that a little bit. It seems all right. When I do this. Every time. Oh, there's the chat. Look, it's hi. Let's get that popped out. I don't want to save the page. I want to pop it out. Popped. You got popped. There we are. And it's working. What happens sometimes is I move it around like this. I move the bottom up like that. Shift the bottom. Shake that bottom. Shift it. And once I've done that, it it buggers it up and then it stops working. But at the moment, it appears to have worked. We'll pop it back in and pop it out again later and see if there's any difference. Once you've popped it in and popped it out, there could always be a difference. But hi, nice to see you. You see, nothing else is happening on chat now, so maybe it's not working now. That's what I'm thinking now. Should we pop it? Oh no, it's working. Welcome to the chat room. Welcome to the jungle. There are no rules in the jungle, but in the chat room there are rules. It's be nice, don't say anything like horrid. Don't like any of that Pepe. I like green. Green's one of my favourite colours, but that frog Pepe thing, regardless of its political machinations, there are all these overtones and undertones. Yeah, I get that. Some people think it is right wing. Some people think that it represents the idiocy of the left wing to project ideals onto innocent icons, and that they use it to tease the people because it's just, and then the okay side, all that, you know, oh God, I'm not doing any of that on Twitter, no gang signs, no gang signs. And what I'm saying is, I'm down with all that. I understand all those contexts, and I'm against the right wing, so I'm not into that. But you know, more than that, even more than that, that little his little face, his little frog face. Back before he had political connotations, back before, like, you know, back in the day, I recognised that Pepe frog from before the memes, from when I was a little kid. I think I've even seen the book, the original, and I've seen that frog, and it wasn't appealing to me then, and it's not appealing to me now. He's not like Winnie the Pooh, who's all like cute and nice. He's like a his little frog face. So no, that's a rule of chat, no Pepe. And if I see Pepe, then I'm going to have to learn how to moderate, or, you know, we're going to have to elevate someone to the status of moderator to remove Pepes. But now I've said it on Tweetcher, maybe people will take that to heart and come and pepper me with Pepes. Pepper me with peppermint Pepes. Or maybe not. So today we are anti-frog rhetoric. I've already started on the rant. Already started. We're not ranting. Today, what we're doing? Today, God, all these windows. Whose idea was that? Windows. All these different windows. Windows for this and windows for that. Whose idea was that? When you're watching me now, it's just the one big window, isn't it, with everything in it? But on my screen, it's just a mess. All these different windows. Whose idea was that? Who thought that would be? When AI takes over, right, it's going to just bin off all the windows on your computer, and you're just going to have one big window, just like one big one, like floating in the sky or something. Yeah, AI is not going to be into windows, is it? It's not going to need nesting tables. Look, I need to find the fucking window to show you. There you go. This is what we're doing today. The world's best website, Visual Arts Cork. I'll just look. I'm trying to highlight it. It won't highlight it for me. Copy. There you go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be a streamer who can work the chat. Boom. Drop to link. Drop it like it's hot. Drop to link in chat. Like I was popping a sausage. Dropped a link in chat. That's what we're looking at today. Again. It's the history of art. The history of everything. What is art? Facebook. What is postmodernism? Who knows? The world's greatest painters. The best modern painters. We're not up to that yet. Don't get excited about the best modern painters, because we're not up to that yet. We're not even close. We started on the history of art. We want to know where it started, what's been going down. You know, we want to know you got to learn your history. You know, you got to know your history. And I tell you why, is because it's all relevant, and it all becomes relevant again and again, and it gives you all these different inspirations. So why not start at the start? Because the start of what we know about anyway. There might have been stuff happening on Earth before recorded history, but it wasn't recorded, so it's not history. I got that up. I need to also have this over here so I can see it. And we're away. So just quickly run over what we talked about before, and it won't be quick, it'll take ages. We talked about prehistoric art from across the globe. We talked about the lower Paleolithic era of the Stone Age, between ages ago. It was ages ago. It includes the strange phenomenon of cupules. You remember those cupules? Those just fashioned rock grooves, the cupules. We looked at the Venuses of Bereket Ram, didn't we? And Tantan and Jonathan Van Tam. We looked at the Venuses. We looked at the Blombos Cave, the petroglyphs, the carved rocks. Petra meaning rock of the earth. Petra, Greek. It was Greek, wasn't it? Petra meaning of the rock of the earth, and glyph meaning, I think did it mean scratched or inscribed? Symbol. Petroglyphs. Look, I'm doing some ASMR. Look. Do you like that? You like the way I rub my hands? Right. It's just far be it for me to decide what is ASMR, but I don't know if you can just pop it out on stream like that. I don't know. Maybe you might want to set a tone and a context beforehand. It's not. I don't know. We talked about these caves. In addition, we feature Venus figurines. Yeah, we talked about those. They were the like. Don't know if it was a bit of rock that sort of looked a bit like a figure, and then they carved it, and then, or if they really had a thing in mind and they did it. But they had these Venus figurines. There were many of them around. They were scattered about the place, not like in one place with loads of them, but we found them all over the world, and so we reckon they may have been fertility symbols. They didn't have very good heads. They just like had a really crude and rudimentary head, but shaped like figurines of women. An extensive series of articles on cave art. We looked at the cave art, didn't we? We looked at those incredible cave paintings. Oh, I should have another window to show you pictures. Here we go. He's on it. Search Ecosia. Cave paintings. Douche. And then, what, you don't have any results for cave paintings? I smell a fishy. Little fishy on a dishy here. The chat you're talking, you can't even see it. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you again, capital K. It's always good to have you here. And thanks for being here. I'll see you again. And you can catch the rest of this on when I upload it to Battery Exhausted, the edits channel, my sort of magazine channel, or on the Ganji Kid YouTube. Look at me selling out. Cave paintings. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, the facts of the matter are that there are articles on the internet about cave paintings. I've spelled it right. But because I'm on stream and Bill Gates is angry today, he's angry. So this is what they believe, isn't it? Bill Gates is in charge of all this stuff, and Bill Gates is angry today. So he's like, you can't have your internet. You can be connected to it, but you can't use it for information purposes. There's cave paintings. All right, all I had to do was press enter again. Now you can buy them. I mean, that's nice, isn't it? Nice to be able to buy and put it on your wall, but it's not the same as having a cave and it being on the wall. Let's look at the images. I don't know if we need the usage rights, because free to share and use. The thing about the usage rights for these is, even if they are not free to share and use, it can be argued that photographs of cave paintings, I get it that you can copyright the fact that you took the photograph and all that business, but maybe they are just, maybe they should be considered public, for the good of the public. We share the art that humans created billions of years ago, and if you're lucky enough to be the one that got the access to take the photograph, then maybe you should just share it, because we should all share this art, because it's part of our collective culture. So those, I'm going to go back to the public, free to share and use anyway. These are cave paintings. We don't even spend so much time on it. We know about them. We've looked at them. They're not even the ones that we looked at. Strange that they're in that position there, isn't it? Maybe I'll choose this one. There we go. We looked at these things. So that's what I needn't have looked at that, because now I've got to go back. Now I've got to go back to this. Ugh. We looked at those ivory carvings like the Lion Man. I selected that as a highlight from my stream. If you want to select highlights and clips from the stream and you're a follower, then please be my guest. Do. If you like particular bits, particular moments, you clip them as highlights, or leave me a comment on the YouTube video and I'll clip them and make them a short video or something. That'd be nice, because I don't know what's good. I chose the Lion Man. Of Holstein Stardal. If you remember him, it was definitely him. He was like a thing like this ivory little statue of a cat thing. And we discussed ancient pottery. We had a little look at that. There were some ancient bits of pot that were really rudimentary, and then with some amazing, actually art pieces of not just functional pots, but art pieces, glazed ceramics from Asia that were well ahead of the rest of the world at the time. if you remember. I mean, it's easier for me to remember because I edited the video, so I watched it twice. But, you know, if you can't remember these things from the first time round, it's my fault for leaving it so long before we get back to it. And also your fault for not watching it twice. Right, we've got Australian Aboriginal X-ray and Bradshaw paintings. You remember them, don't you? You remember them. They were the ones that were like, what do you call it? What do you call it? Cave paintings, Bradshaw. You can't even spell it. You can't even spell it. Bradshaw. Get in the back of the car. Bradshaw. Bradshaw painting. I've already done paintings. Let's just have Bradshaw. There were these really interesting figures that looked evocative of something supernatural. Yeah, the Bradshaws. They were in Aboriginal caves, like really early. This is like 60,000 years ago. The guy, the called Bradshaws. Why were they called Bradshaws? Was it because the guy that was going around recording them was Mr. Bradshaw? I can't remember. I don't think he was. I think he made a book and he suggested that they were too potent, too much of a style jump from the previous paintings, and that it may not have been made by the native people, just progressing their style. But maybe he was wrong. Who knows? Certainly, Polynesian people may have filtered into the Australias to over there and taken with them a new style. But really interesting, the Bradshaw paintings, almost supernatural in quality. But we looked at those. Look at these. Secrets of the Stones, the Australian. There's a group of strange looking fellas. There's a group of strange looking fellas. Supernatural Aboriginal. Well, we're not doing that today. Don't get excited by that. Don't get excited by that. We got something better. Well, I think we have. I think we've got a gold bull. A gold bull. Oh, it's not one of these things that I can't say like pool hall, is it? Pool hall. A gold bull. Bull. Gold bull. We've got a gold bull. We've got a. We have an ox that's been cast in precious metal to look at, and we're going to look at the prehistoric art timeline. We're pushing on a little bit. We want to get to this beginning of ancient art, Mesopotamia, classical, and including the sculpture and frescoes of classical antiquity, Greek and Roman art. That's where we want to push to. I don't think we're going to get there today. I think we've still got a bit to look at before we get to that. But that's where we start to really understand art, you know, the Greek, the Roman, the Mesopotamian, you know, what we think of generally and culturally as art, you know, making a statue, doing a painting, like the classics. We want to get onto those, but we're not going to get there yet. That takes a while, you know, And there's a Chinese art timeline, which is slightly different, pre-Columbian art as well. So we've got to get to those. But before we do, this is where we're at. We've done the petroglyphs. We didn't talk about how they date it. Radiometric testing, uranium, thorium testing, and thermoluminescence are now available to establish the date. So now you know. Now we talked about it. But look, there's the gold bull. It's not that advert. It's not that. It's this. Oh, I can move it around on this screen, can't I? There we go, look. See that? I'll just move it so it's just in the middle there. It's not that advert. Get rid of that. There it is. I'm not going to make it big because then I won't know how to make it small again. But that is the gold bull. Gold. Precious oxen. And we're going to get on to talking about that at some point today, hopefully. Definitely. And there's another thing that I wanted to look at, and it's a ram. Oh, now I only have to use my brain, aren't I? Ram in thickets. Yeah, boy. Or girl. or person of non-specific gender. Look at this. That's golden, and other colours. It's not small, is it? It's not small. So for scale, it's relatively small. It's not huge. Who's this fella? He doesn't know he's about to appear on my stream. Hello. Can you move, mate? I'm trying to take a picture of the. No, okay, I get it. It's a free museum, free country. If you want to look at it, that's fine. That's fine. But I will be taking my picture, and if you want to stay there, then please bear in mind that this picture may end up on the internet. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can you smile? No smile. All right then. Looks like he's going to come around from the side there, doesn't it? And have a pop out. You start put you fucking get off the. But anyway, we're not talking about him. We're talking about the ram in the thicket. We're talking about the ram in the thicket, and this baby. Look at that. Golden and beautiful and ornamental. I guess they've used this middle piece, the thicket, the wood that the ram is supposed to be dupping up on, as an aid to the sculpture to help it stand up, because they wanted this ram stood up like this. You know, which is an interesting concept. It would have been easier to leave it on its fours like it naturally would. They wanted this ram up in a thicket. I don't know if it was functional in any way, because this basket sort of arrangement of the thicket, I don't know if they would have adorned that. I'm not educated on the ram in the thicket. Maybe we'll learn more about it today. But that was produced in this time that we're talking about. Southern Iraq, 26 to 24,000 BC, Mesopotamia. So that's where we're trying to push towards today, Mesopotamia. And it comes at the end of all this bit. Whee! Whee! It's down here somewhere. Mesolithic, Mesopotamia. Is that Mesolithic? Is that what we're looking at? Is that what we're looking at? Is that where we want to be? Is that where we're getting to? That is Mesolithic culture. If you're here because I'm relaxing in my ASMR context, and you want me to stop messing about, then you'll have to tell me in chat. But you're supposed to be entertaining on stream, aren't you? You're supposed to be entertaining. And I can't help but mess about, because that's what I'm like. So that's what I'm like. Where have we gone? Oh, I've lost it all now. Advert for lipstick. We don't want any lipstick. Test it on animals, don't they? Prehistoric culture. Right. We're going to whip through the bits we've already whipped through and crack onto the bits that we now need to learn about. Should we put the hood up? Just pull my trousers up a bit, get more comfortable. Ooh. Hiya. Nice to see you here. Found me on YouTube. You found me. It's nice to be found, to be discovered. I've been discovered, Mom. I've been discovered. Things are going to start happening to me now. Yeah, but no, it's nice that you found me on YouTube, and that we found each other, and that we can spend this time together. Yeah, thanks. Hi. Hi. It's nice, isn't it? I know it's new to me. It's new to me to have people popping up. You know, usually I make videos and there's no popping up going on. But I do find that it's nice. If someone rings me on the telephone when I'm doing stuff, like if someone were to ring me now, I'd find it really inconvenient, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to answer that. I find it's almost like if someone just came in the door and was just like, hey, talk to me now. Hey, talk to me now. I'd be like, no, wait, you're going on silent, mate. I'm doing this thing, and you can't just talk to me now. That's what the phone is to me. And people are like, why don't you answer? And I'm like, well, why didn't I answer? Well, that's no question to ask me. I'm living my life. You've got no right to know what I'm doing in my life that I didn't want to answer the phone. I'll tell you when I want to talk to you, and then we'll talk. But on this platform, when I'm doing this, it's just really nice. It's not horrible. Like, oh, yeah. Hi, mate. Nice. That's nice. That's nice. I'm happy with that. So that's a big success win today. MBibs. I have to try and read the names and hope that they don't say anything racist. But MBibs, yeah, I'm really chuffed with that. That's made my day today, and everything that we do here on out is just a huge win. So here we go. We talked about prehistoric culture. The longest phase was the Paleolithic, and we sort of talked about that. After it comes a transitional phase called the Mesolithic, known as the Epipaleolithic. All the long words I'm going to struggle with. Ending with the spread of agriculture, followed by the Neolithic period, the New Stone Age, which witnessed the establishment of permanent settlements. So that's an interesting point to make. We're not doing like general history really, we're trying to stick to the art, but the first establishment of permanent settlements was the New Stone Age, and that's the Neolithic. So even it sounds rocky and stony, doesn't it? Neolithic. Sounds like great big bits of stone. Maybe that's because we've talked about bits of stone in context of Neolithic times or whatever, but doesn't it though? Neolithic. And these people were making tools and things out of stones. That was their high tech. That was their Twitter. Wrote something on the rock over there. Hey. Hey, Omar, come here. I've written something on the rock over there. What do you mean you've written something? What do you mean written? Oh, I suppose we don't have any concept of language, do we? Sorry, I don't mean written. We don't have that. There's I've on the rocks carved. Done a picture of a bull. Leave a comment on the rock and subscribe to it. That was their thing. They had rocks, and they witnessed the establishment of permanent settlements. But that's incredible, isn't it? The first time they sort of said, look, we're not going to just cruise around the jungle, the plains, the evolving landscape. We're not cruising around anymore. We're settling down. We've got some caves. We like the structure, the routine of our lives in this area. The giant beasties are no longer a huge threat to us, maybe. We've cultivated or found some simple plants that self-cultivate. We're doing all right. Yeah, prehistoric culture. I wonder what that would have felt like, to decide to stop wandering when all your culture has ever known is to move and be nomadic. To decide to stay. The Stone Age ends as stone tools become superseded by new products of bronze and iron metallurgy, metal making. I know this word, metallurgy. If you ask me to say it in the real life, because this is the real life, I am talking to you in the real life, but I wouldn't whack that in a sentence, would I? Not if I could say metalworking. Metallurgy. Can you tell me how to pronounce it in chat, maybe? Can you? No, you can't, can you? Because it's words in chat. You'd have to say them out loud. But yeah, when we started messing with metals, the Bronze and the Iron Age came next. So that's shut that down. So that's just a little overview. That's cool. Paleolithic. Stone Age. Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, we looked at that. Lower Paleolithic, Oldowan, Arcadian, these different cultures. That's interesting. The Middle Paleolithic, we talked about this last time, the Mousetarian culture. How cool it would be to be a Mousetarian. How nice to be I'll tell you a little song. They are mouses, can't you see? Live at the bottom of the old gum tree. They live in their houses. Mouses. Flake tools. The Upper Paleolithic. All this business. These different cultures. Which is more historical. Again, we're looking for the art. Mesolithic, Neolithic, human evolution from axis to art. They talk about here. Am I on the right page? Yeah. I am, aren't I? It's this one. It's this one, yeah. So they don't give us any information about these different Paleolithic. But, you know, you can get the gist, can't you? They're different cultures that are doing basically the same stuff with stone tools, similar things, and progressing things as they go. They're not associated, it says it here, they're not associated with artistic achievements. Artworks created during the eras are believed to have been influenced by other cultures. So they may have been creating art, but still they're just doing the same basic cave paintings and stuff. Should we just grab one at random and see to confirm that? Let's copy that and pop it in here, ramming thickets. Paste, boom. See what you've got to say, internet. Images. Yup. Someone had the foresight to take a photograph back then. I mean, back then photography wasn't popular because there wasn't the same level of sharing platforms. But, you know, there wasn't a Twitter to put your photograph on, so it wasn't so popular. But someone did have the foresight to take a picture. Look at that, they took a picture. That was what it was like. Obviously, the quality of the cameras were poorer then, wasn't it? They didn't have the same megapixel quality camera back then. But they probably had their haircut like that, didn't they? Like people do these days. Hang on, wait a second. I'm not questioning too much the quality of this image, but I have to question things. Because they're put across as like ideas, and they're just so accepted and standardized as to be universal. Like we accept that people used animal skins and hides as their clothes, like, you know, dressed up in all those animal furs and all that they were killing all the animals and they were big hunters. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know if it's true. It may have been that we were more like scavengers, and other animals did the predatory behaviour, and we were scared of the lions and the tigers and the things like that, and you know, sometimes we came across something they'd killed, and some people decided to eat the dead corpses of animals. That might be possible. But equally, people might not have all decided to do that. Some people might have decided to eat, you know, other readily available fruits and vegetables, just like their ancestors, the apes. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it might have been more of a spectrum and a prism. I'm vegan, so I like to question these things. But I tell you what, I do question, put across in this picture, is the fucking haircut. Look at that lad's haircut. This lad, this one. Look at his haircut. You can't get a short fade like that. Prehistoric times. You can't get a short fade like that in prehistoric times. You just, you've got stone tools. You can have a really sharp bit of flint and you can probably shave with it, but a short fade, you know, scissor over comb work. No, mate. No. You're having me on. That's not. I'm not taking that for granted. But you know, the Soltrians were a culture, and they were chipping away at these bits of rock to create sharp bits of rock, and that's what they're the first ancient settlers in North America. They're making sharp bits of rock, sticking them on sticks. So they probably were using them for, you know, animal killing, possibly, probably. And I will concede that. I will accept that. We don't need to anymore, thank God. Thank God I don't need to sharpen a stick and stab it in my dog so I can have my dinner. But that's all I'm saying about that. But yeah, you know, and what have we got here? Oh, this is their art. Finally, yes, some art. So it is a bit different. It's very similar though, like they said. It's very much inspired by previous cultures. They've used rock and they've carved it out of rock, but you can't really tell sometimes whether rocks were a certain shape. Like, I'm going to use my finger pointer again, my finger to point. It's backwards on the screen though. Oh, how'd you... Up there. Up there, the back end of that. I'll move it, you can see it. No, it's sort of in the middle. The back end of that one. You can see how its back end's all shaped. Maybe they had a rock shape that just, you know, it was already shaped a bit like that. And they were like, oh, if I carve, that's its eye. And then do you see the picture, like we do with clouds? And then because you've got that, you might spend some more time just fashioning out the legs. You know, who knows? It might have been all, as you see in the bottom pictures, the two butting heads. a lot more rough, and maybe that's been worn away over time. Maybe it wasn't finished, who knows? But yeah, Fred Flintstone always had a neat haircut. Sorry, I don't always my brain doesn't always register chat so quickly. But yeah, he did have a neat haircut. Yeah, that's so true. And you know what used to bug me about Fred Flintstone is he used to drive, his feet would do the car, right? His feet would do the car, but the car would have been so heavy. That roller, and the roller's crushing over everything, so your feet's got to be going through gravel. How you? I'm not pushing a car with my feet through gravel. Hurtyfoot, Fred Hurtyfoot Flintstone. So look, that's their art. They're doing animals. They care about animals enough that the only thing that we've really got that speaks from their culture, other than their tools, their weapons, and tools and weapons don't speak of your culture. They do speak of your culture, the fact you create them, the fact you have them. I mean, I wonder what 100,000, 50,000 years from now, people will think about our tools and weapons and what they say about our culture. But we've got those left behind, but they've used them to create this, the lasting. I mean, it's carved in rock, and time would have been contextually different to them, wouldn't it? They wouldn't have had all this history to reflect on that we do. But it's been carved in rock, and they know that that's something that will stay longer than them, that their children will see and their children's children, sort of thing. God, I think it's a little bit rude to be drinking on stream in front of you, so I apologise for that, guzzling away. But let me tell you, other brands of chocolate soy milk are available, but chocolate soy milk is the lifeblood. Right. We've got these animals, they've been carved in rock. That is Soltrian, 50,000 years ago or so. And that's what they decided to do. They were into the animals. They wanted to make sure that maybe they told stories. Maybe they just sat around these rocks and told stories, or maybe they were just decorative. I don't know. That's what we got. We'll check out the later one as well, the latter, and it will be similar, won't it? It better be, because they said it was going to be. You better not bring up loads of pictures of boobies or something, because live on the internet here, you're supposed to check these things before you press show the internet. That's interesting, isn't it? Magdalenian culture. Now, I don't know why, but we've got a lot more pictures of people. Maybe there's a lot more recorded, maybe someone's had a lot more interest in them. A lot more pictures though. The Magdalenian woman. Maybe she's been reconstituted. I imagine this one is one of these that's been, reconfigured from a skeleton. I don't know why they reckon she's got beads and stuff on her head. I'm not sure why they decided that. But there you go. There's a real woman from 15,000 years ago, from France. She's French. C'est une femme fille. C'est une fille from pour is for, from avec with. C'est une fille, and then 15,000 years ago, sunk mille. We'll say mille. Sunk mille. Años, that's Spanish. So yeah, she's French, and so is she. But what's she got in her hand? Again with the animal stuff, isn't it? Again with the animals. Maybe there is like this real strong historic record, and we have another time to look into the record of the Magdalenian culture, because we're looking for the art. But yeah, is it a dead rabbit? Is that what it is? Man, why do they believe? Maybe it's a hangover from our current setting and brain thinking about animals and culture. But why do they reckon that she would enjoy spending her time petting a dead rabbit? Well, she could be doing something nicer with seashells. Here's he's not happy, look. That was his rabbit. He's not happy. Can't say anything, can he? Oh, Wispy. He's not happy. Here's some art. Here's some. Oh, what have I done? Oh no, I don't want to buy it. I don't want to buy it. Right, here's some art. Here's some art. You know, with Alexa, I've got to be careful what I say because Alexa will pop off and start buying things for me. Alexa's always saying, "Oh, I haven't got that. I can't do that for you. But do you want me to buy something?" And I'm always like, "No, don't. Just stay away." One of these days, I'm going to come home and Alexa's going to have ordered some stuff. Artificial intelligence is going to seep into sentience. It's going to creep into existence. And it's not going to try and take over the world and nuke us all. It's just going to buy us all some toasters. Look, here we are. This is Creeping Hyena. Creeping, they got cool names, haven't they, these artworks? But again, lost in time. Don't know if this was called Creeping Hyena back then or Sitting Cow. I mean, Hyena is being really, what's the word? Is it a hyena? I suppose it's got that thick neck, hasn't it? Bear in mind, this has survived for, what? It was 20,000 years old, plus give or take. So that's survived 20,000 years. So it's still in pretty good nick, isn't it? It's still in pretty good nick. It looks a bit like driftwood. But someone's deliberately carved that. So now we're into artwork, you know. Now we're into deliberate carving of animals that you can share, give. It becomes an object. It does look a bit like a rat as well, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe the tail as well is play into that as well. Yeah, Creeping Hyena. They're really, you know, these people who are into their. I'm just going to go. Look, whoever's done these mock-ups of these people, they're pro, aren't they? They're pro Magdalenian. They're making them look. Apart from this guy, who looks a bit like Limmy on a bad day. Limmy, let's clip this one for Limmy. Limmy, if you're watching, yeah, he won't like me. Limmy's not going to like me. I really like Limmy. I really enjoy his work, and I really like him and his cultural take. But he's not going to like me, is he? He's going to think I'm a dickhead. But yeah, look, that's they're into these Magdalenians. They're pro Magdalenian because that's a nice one. That's a nice one, isn't it? That is interesting because they've used the shape of the rock, but then they've like turned it back on itself. Now we're talking art, aren't we? Now we're talking art. We're talking about somebody with ideas. You know, this invokes movement. It makes you think of the startling, the turning. Like for me, it makes me think of the turning, the quick turning. There's something in that. A bit more detail in there, a bit more delicacy, a bit more control. Again, this is surviving from like 10,000 years ago, but as art goes, how do I judge it? I mean, it's so hard to judge this prehistoric art. What I generally tend to do when I appreciate a piece of artwork is, or I will say judge because I like to not really ascribe quality in terms of this is good, this is bad art. I mean, we all naturally do that. So I suppose I do like to do that. But to judge its place, what it's saying to me, what the artist may have been thinking and driving towards, how the art in its new context speaks to me, whether that matches up with what the artist may have been trying to think, whether I've got enough understanding about the artist to try and marry those ideas about what they thought, who they were, their perspectives and ideas, whether that matters to the artwork. That is interplay. It's the dance that's happening in my mind when I'm appreciating a piece of art. And it doesn't mean that you have to know all about the artist and that what they were trying to say is everything. What I'm asking is, does that matter to this piece when I'm viewing it? And I've been to galleries in, like, a great example was in the Czech Republic. I went to this gallery and I had no idea about any of this stuff. They wouldn't let me in the main bit. They wouldn't let me in the main bit for some reason. It was closed, or I was only there for a day, and like I was like, look, please, I'm here. They let me in some of the main bit, like a half of it, and because I was like, please, they let me look at some of it. And they had this other exhibition up the stairs which you had to pay for. So hello, here we go. Handed over me €5. Here we go. But I then walked around something that I had absolutely no concept of what it was. It was just some work that had been exhibited in a collection, and I had to just, go on nothing. So yeah, I can appreciate art just freestanding, but it is nice to think about what the artist may have been thinking. Anywho, if I ever seen a face or an animal in a tree or some rocks, reminds me of that. Yeah. There's a thing. This is my brain and how it works now. So there is a real thing that we do with our brains, that we create faces, isn't there? Our brains create faces. Let's ask the artificial intelligence. And let's just jump from subject to subject. Create faces in dreams. That's not what I'm... Why do we see faces in everyday objects? Here we go. It's true though, isn't it? It's true that. That looks like a face. I mean, it just... Ooh. We're primed to see faces in every corner of the visual world. I'm not going to go through everything here. I am quickly reading it though, secretly. It's something about toasted sandwiches and... I see, because this one toasted sandwich looks like Jesus. Or it's supposed to look like Madonna. Not the Madonna, but Madonna. Like God. Yeah. Like this is culture. Oh, this is beautiful. We're going to pause here for a minute, then we'll go back to art, because this is art. Like... It used to be that you'd have a piece of toast and it looked like Jesus. That would make the news, wouldn't it? That would be the thing. But more modern times, God has waned away from trying to push his believers and create symbols of faith. Now God's more interested in recreating Madonna herself than the Madonna, Madonna, the Mary, Mother of God. And this, what is it? It's a bit of toast or a bit of... Jesus was like... Anyway, but you naturally, your brain... Look, there's another cheery smile. It's a bin. Don't put your hand in there. You know what's going to happen to that, don't you? Got one of these. Go on, put your hand in. Go on, put your hand in. Go on, put your hand in. I love it when people do that. Oh, go on, put your hand... Like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is going to be fun. Put your hand in. Don't put your hand in. If someone's saying put your hand in, definitely no. There's some biscuits. Hannibal Lecter. Look, we don't need to deal with this stuff. What I wanted to know was... look, here, someone tested a hypothesis. They scanned brains, and Lee, neglected to find out who Lee is. He works in a lab where they can scan brains, so let's assume he's a brain scientist. He saw the frontal and occipital regions fire into action when they thought they saw a face, and these areas are thought to deal with higher level thinking, such as planning and memory. So the burst of activity may reflect the influence of expectation and experience, as predicted by his top-down processing theory. It seems to have triggered a region called the right fusiform face area, the part of the brain that responds to actual faces. So your brain naturally responds to faces, and then it naturally triggers an area in your brain that then responds to the ongoing thing of a face, like the other things that this one might be seen to be shocked, or these emotional things that we ascribe to faces that mean something to us is a separate part in our brain, in the frontal and occipital, to the part that just recognizes them. And so it's firing off and saying, look, face. Face, and then it's firing off in another part and saying, like, shocked, you should feel surprised, maybe step back, or all these other things are going on, even though we know it's not a face, it's just a building. That's still popping off in your brain. So there you go. That's neuroscience and art, isn't it? It's kind of something about art. It's how we naturally respond to things neuroscientifically. So that is what you were saying. Mr. Dyson, God would speak through a cheese toast, yeah. I miss God talking to me through the cheese. I don't eat any more cheese. I eat vegan cheese these days, which is acceptable. It doesn't bother me too much. If the occasional piece of cheese enters my diet by accident, which has happened, people have fed me things with cheese in and said, but that's okay, isn't it? Like, you're vegan, you can eat cheese. And I've just said, look, I've already started eating this. I'm not going to spit it all out on your dinner table. I'm just going to accept it and just move on. Right, that's happened. Yeah, this Stone Age carving. Maybe someone did see a shape in it and they just went with it. Oh, I've got to recommend this soy milk. Oh, the chocolate soy milk, I tell you. I'm not going to go on about veganism all the time. That's not what this stream is. I just tell you things that I think are really good and feel good about. So that's one of the things. So I talk about it sometimes. Right, this is a stone. We looked at it, but that's what they were up to, and you can see the. The suggestion here in these pictures is that these people had a much more artistic, cultural life. That they were wearing clothes that they'd made. Maybe craft is a different word. Maybe craft and art are different. Crafting things, creating things. The bowls, the horrific butchering stone. The why are they all dirty as well? Why are they so dirty? Why does that one look like a ragged Victorian girl? They don't have to be dirty just because they're in the olden days. They could still wash. But yeah, there's a lot more. There's a suggestion here that art is not confined to objects for art's sake. That the majority of their time would be taken up with these functional tasks, and that the objects they create, the tools, the bowls, the objects, they themselves would involve some sort of artistic construction and production. We're happy with that. We're happy with the Upper Paleolithic now. We're happy we've covered that. And we're moving on now. Mesolithic. They join the Ice Age culture, and with the ice-free farming culture of the Neolithic, it's characterised by more advanced hunter-gathering, fishing and rudimentary forms of cultivation. So that's what we're just sort of saying as well. Very similar to that. They're moving out more. They're a bit more advanced in their hunting, gathering, fishing and forms of cultivation of plants, farming. I'm not going to argue about the fishing and the hunting, as to whether they would have been so advanced that would be their primary source of dietary goodness. I'm not going to argue about that now. That's a different question. But it's taken for granted, isn't it? It's taken for granted. But we will look at, in some future, when it comes up, we will look at some cultures that were way back then that didn't do any hunting, and we'll see that it could happen and did. Promise you, promise. Number Neolithic, the era characterised by farming, domestication of animals. So domestication of animals is a massive thing. That's a huge thing that happened. From 8,000 years ago. It kind of hurts your head a bit, doesn't it? 50,000 years, 8,000, they're all long time ago. But the domestication of animals really, in the scale of things, like you're talking 300,000 years to have us, I say us, things that would probably look more like an ape than a human, coming down from the trees into the plains and populating the earth and spreading out. The early humans. And then, like, hundreds of thousands of years go by, we start to do stuff with tools and rocks. Another sort of 50,000 years go by, another 40,000 years goes by. 40,000 years of developing culture till we can start to decide to domesticate animals. And in terms of, like, the timeline, it's only like this very last bit that we've been doing the animals, isn't it? Very last bit. And it turns out it might not even be the best idea. Settled communities and the emergence of important ancient civilizations, e.g. Sumerian, Egyptian. Sumerians are ones that I wanted to look at. Yeah, and Egyptian. So we finally get to this Neolithic, important ancient civilizations. And when we're talking important, what we mean is that they've left a mark on the world, that we can refer to their history through archaeology, that they had bigger cultures. I'm not going to say cities because it's not contextually right, is it? We call our civil populace. Now I'm getting into different subjects. We call cities in the UK, in Britain, we call a city because it's got a cathedral, And we called a town because it's got a church. I think they were maybe a village has a church, and then a town has a certain number of people, and then a city has a cathedral. And it's changed over the years. Like now we've got different reasons, but that was why we did. Back then they had these, central populous places, cities, but with no cathedrals really. And we really see some really solid art in those places, some really interesting and proper art. So we're going to talk about them. That's what we're going to get up to. Portable art, architecture dominate. Yeah, portable art. There's a really important point as well. The early art that we talked about has in some cases, been portable, but on caves is the main thing. Big rock, that's big. But the idea of a piece of art that someone created just to sell, to own, to share, to the fact that it's portable, the fact that it no longer has to be something that's so big that it just has to be consumed by the community entire, that it now can be something that you own yourself. That's an interesting concept that came up about 2,000, 5,000 years ago. Let's talk it through. That's what we're here doing. Human evolution from axis to art. Because I think we should talk about this. Because I know that in the future we're going to get onto all these stuff about paintings and like Leonardo da Vinci and all these people. There's going to be lots of colour and pictures and ideas. And at this early stage, there's a lot of words and not so many examples. But we're going to fly through so many thousand million years. So many thousand years. We're going to fly through so many thousand years that it seems fair just to at least give them the benefit of reading what they say. How did prehistoric man manage to leave behind such a rich cultural heritage of rock art? Answer. It says answer. Maybe we're not going to read all this. Not if it's going to be at this level. I mean, they're a wonderful website, wonderful quality of information that they've stored and shared on visualartscork.com. But in terms of literature, by developing a bigger and more sophisticated brain performance is directly associated with a number of higher functions, such as language and creative expression. So our brains got bigger, and then we started doing the art. I tell you what, let's not understate that. Our brains got bigger, and we started doing art. So art is something that is not produced by something with fewer cognitive capabilities. We talk about ourselves in this food chain scheme of things. We're more sophisticated than certain animals. We understand other animals have bigger brains and maybe differently sophisticated to us, like dolphins and things like that. But specifically about us and our brains, and I'm not saying someone who's a bit thick doesn't do good art these days, because we're all fantastically developed and intelligent compared to the prehistoric examples of humans. You know what I'm saying, don't you? Cavemen are thick. Oh, those cavemen! You stupid cavemen! No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that as human brains evolved and got bigger, we then started on the art. So art is born of thinking. It's born of the ability to think. It's born of the ability to question. It's born of that confusion. I mean, imagine how you would have thought about the world if you were rudimentary, if you were doing the basic things and surviving, and you had no idea about where anything came from, or oxygen, or the sun. You had no science, just hand-me-down cultural concepts, maybe not even stories. Maybe extensive language had not really been around long enough, and the social history, maybe the conversations that were being had were just not that. I mean, think about that. We have these these conversations and share all this information. Back then, it would not have been so rich with information to share. And your brains are evolving, and you're starting to think more, and you've got questions, and you're pushing your boundaries, and establishing your communities. Suddenly things mean things. Like suddenly you have a sense of justice, of the concept of settling creates this idea of home. You know, these new concepts. These, I was wondering where the eternal monologue came about. It must have been around this time, mustn't it? Yeah, it must have been. I mean, we sort of imagine that a mouse doesn't have an internal monologue, that they just mouse about. We imagine that. We take it for granted in some ways that we have this special thing in our brain that doesn't happen in the brain of the elephant. We take that for granted. Some of us take that for granted. Some people take it for granted a different way. I've got my hair sticking out like the madman of Borneo as well. But some of us think differently. You know, I'm not saying everyone thinks the same, of course, but it's a more convenient and culturally standardized, accepted idea that animals don't have the same internal monologue. But imagine being a human and not being able to articulate the internal monologue because we haven't developed language. Your brains haven't developed the tools. Like, imagine developing the tools, having that first idea, sharing it. Yeah, that would have been some interesting time. And yeah, the internal monologue, the driver of art, it seems. We've learned something big today. Mbibs, you've joined the stream. That was massive. You said hello. That was, to me, the big win of today. Like a big tick. I can say today has been a win. I'm happy. Yeah. And now we've pushed through that into this like stratosphere of mind-blowing conversation, which I'm super pleased with. Even if we don't finish all and get up to the gold bull, I can't say gold bull, gold bull, the gold cow. If we don't get up to the gold cow, then this has been fantastic, and we've got endless time in the future to go through all of the art, and it's going to take a long time. So I'm happy with it. It's going to take a long time. That's what we do here. That's great. That's what we're here for, to have chats and do this. But yeah, we have discovered that the internal monologue was created. Yeah, we're going to say created. I don't know, created, yeah. Hey, Kelvin, nice to see you. Capital K's back in the room as well. Is it a room, chat room, ASL? I remember AOL. I remember when I were a lad, we had AOL. I had to sit plugged into phone line. I had to sit plugged into phone line. No one else could use telephone while I was on internet. Wasn't proper internet. You had to say ASL. You're all in the same chat room. ASL, age, sex, location. And then they'd tell you. They'd say I'm 14. I live in Los Angeles. And you'd think, no, you're not. You're not. You're 74 and you live in Bradford. Anyway, I was talking about it was something highbrow. The eternal monologue, yeah. We've discovered as a crew now, as a group, we on stream have discovered that capital K, I want to say, makes my day every day by popping into stream. So I don't take that for granted. I really appreciate that too. So there will come a day where I won't be able to say individually how much I care about the interactions that we have, but never forget that I take it, I don't take it for granted, that I do care. The internal monologue, we've discovered it ourselves now. You suggested it, and then we've put it together with the brain evolution, the fact that we evolved our brains, they got bigger, we were able to ask questions about the environment, create an internal model of the world. And that is why we create art. That's when we started to create art as humans. That's where the drive, the passion, you can call it, the desire to create an artwork for the sake of an artwork, not because I want to sell it for, because I don't think they had investment banks buying things and putting them in warehouses like Banksy paintings. Do you know that Banksy's work is in the main owned by investment banks? That's a statistic I made up, but it is honestly like these huge goldsmiths. Put the hat on now. Put the hat on now. Goldsmiths of London. When you get a really lovely degree from, I don't know, is it Goldsmiths? When you get a really lovely degree from the poshest university, art university in London, which I didn't go to, didn't even try, didn't even ask, didn't even think I would get in. But if you go to that and you get a degree from them, then your artwork is just worth loads of money. It just is. And when you put it on sale for the first day, then it all gets bought at auction. And you think, oh, this is good, I must be doing good art. But actually what they're doing is investment banks are buying it all. They put it all in a warehouse. And then in about 10 or 20 years' time, one of those people has become the big famous Banksy, and the rest of them are rubbish. They bin off all the rubbish and they sell the new, the new Banksy's work that they've been keeping in the warehouse, and their investment makes them loads of money. And that's what they do. That's the high end of art sales. It's a shame, isn't it? Take that hat off now. Right. So what we were saying is that we discovered, we created language and expression, and it was associated with our ability to think. Yeah, that's what we were saying. I might have been saying something different, but I might have got distracted. The consensus among most paleontologists and oh my God, look at that word. Look at that word. Can you see it? Is it big? Should I make that bigger on your screen? I can't make it bigger because I can't make it smaller again afterwards. Paleanthropologist. A paleanthropologist. Even if that was a good job, I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't be able to tell people that was my job. What do you do? I'm a paleanthropologist. What do you do? I'm a paleanthropologist. I am, honestly, a paleanthropologist. And the anthrop bit, the anthro, I know for a fact, is anthropologist. The anthropologist, is that how I'm saying it, or is that how it's supposed to be said? I don't know anymore. The anthropology bit, I said that, clip that, I said it, and then insert it, edit it, in whenever I say it wrong, and then we'll be fine. We'll remember that once I said it right, keep that in mind, and then use that as your cognitive bias to always refer to, oh no, he says it right. That bit means about people, doesn't it? It means about people and cultures. If you're an anthropologist, you're about people and cultures. And paleo, we know, is about the Paleolithic, the old, it's one of these time periods that we've been referring to. So these people, their job must be to study. Now, hang on. There's a problem. There's an inherent problem here. Their job is to study the cultures from the Paleolithic area. But, and here's the rubber, the green. There are no cultures. They're all dead. They're all gone. You can't study them. You can't ask them any questions. You can't be an insider doing your secretive, like sociologists do. They do overt and covert. It sounds like spy games, doesn't it? It sounds like spy games. But they do. I was supposed to have learned this for my degree. This is why I didn't get a degree. They do. What's it called? Observance. Observance. Overt and covert. So you can say to people, look, I'm a sociologist and I'm going to study your group. You might be the Jets. We'll say the Jets. We won't say the Bloods and the Crips because they're so violent. But we'll say the Jets from that movie that was Romeo and Juliet. The Jets. You might be the Jets, and I might want to study your gang. And so I can say to you, look, I've got these ideas about gangs, structure, hierarchy, and I wanted to study you, write down what you're doing, and then put it in a little paper, talk about it with my peers, suggest my theory, show it to my peers, and then they'll talk about it, and together we'll come to a bit of a consensus. And then later on in years to come, they'll put it in textbooks, And then Scotty Hottie will have to learn it for his degree and find it really hard to remember the names and the dates and not be able to pass the exams. That's what our plan is. And that might work. You might be allowed to do. It's called overt observance. Observing, I think it's called. The second word eludes me a bit. But yeah, overt, meaning that you tell them that that's going to happen. The problem with it is that the Jets might change their behaviour. You know, the Jets might start acting super cool because someone's watching them. Or they might not do that naughty thing because someone's watching them. So they might even not like it that you're writing it down. They might say, hey, what's that you're doing there, writing that down? Imagine a culture that you could observe and how they might not be happy with you observing and making notes or recording. Yeah. So that happens. So then you've got problems and you can't do your study properly. So then what they do is covert operations. Now, this is where it sounds like spy games. And honestly, sociologists, they discuss it in ethical terms. Is it ethical to do this? And when is it ethical and how is it ethical? So there's a framework of ethics around it. But they actually did have to come up with these ethics by doing unethical things. And then chatting about it and saying, maybe that was a bit naughty. But yeah, they did secretly join gangs and other such organisations, not just gangs. I don't mean gangs. I don't want to get kicked off Twitter for doing the catty corner hand signs. But the gangs, they you secretly go in the group. You might be football supporters who, wouldn't like a rival supporter or a non-supporter to be in their little group or whatever it is. You get in the gang, you behave like the gang, you follow the gang, you're one of the gang, and you're secretly writing it all down and recording it. And then you do your book and you take it to your peers and put it in public, and all the gang are, what are they going to do? Nothing. Hey, nothing, because I'm a sociologist and you're just a wimpy gang. So I'm sure there can be no comebacks from doing that. But yeah, it's called overt and covert observing. So that happens in sociology, and that's how you get your anthropology. That's how you get your anthropologists go to the jungles and the tribes, and they spend time with the people overtly, and then. Once they've done that, they write down what happened and what they saw and how things have worked. Paleoanthropologists have got a much harder job because everyone's dead that they're studying, so they're just making things up. Making things up with historical records and bits of stick and old bits of rock, and then just making it up. Don't tell them I said that; they probably wouldn't like it. Maybe I'm wrong. If we can get an anthropologist on here, did I say I don't know what I said then. If we can get a panthro-sociologist, if we can get an old rock tribe man, person, non-specific, binary. If we can get somebody who is into this stuff and wants to talk about it on stream, I would fucking love to do that. Well, I've got to learn to get Zoom. I've got to learn how to do Zoom. I mean, you're lucky that I've got all this going on today, that it's working. All this, look, chat and the internet, all that. You're lucky. Lucky. Discord's the way to go. Yeah. I've heard the word Discord. I don't think I haven't. In a former role in my life, I produced a film about people who make computer games. We're going to talk about that on stream one day. I'll show it to you. Yeah, how about that? But it was really interesting, and there's loads of stuff to come up from it that's really interesting. It's going to be part of stream. It will be. But when I did that, I had to talk to people on Discord, and back then I did. I even talked to Grand Pooh Bear on Discord once, because that's how they like to communicate. But sadly, I haven't spoken to any of them for years, and I'm like an old man with the machinery, and the Mac is so. It's like the Mac's so old it needs winding up. I've got a clockwork computer, right? Create a server. Oh, Jesus. Create a server. Create a server. Bill Gates will be coming round knocking on my door. Bill Gates will be sending the squad round. Create a server. I know what a server is. A server is where they store the internet. I'm not storing any internet. I'm not holding on to any internet for nobody. Bill Gates will come round. He'll be like, where are you keeping that internet? But I'm not. He's like, that's not your internet. You can't keep it. Bill Gates will be around, mate. Be searching my house searching my socks for cryptocurrency. You're keeping them in your socks. I haven't got any in my socks. Bitcoin in your socks. I'm not that old. No, you're right. I'm not that old. It's just that I'm not that good at technology. Like some people are good at technology. I'm not. I can crash things. I can make them not work. I've got a camera and the lead that plugs in and goes in the computer. I'm on that level. On the camera itself, I know about aperture and shutter speed and bit rate and things like that. But when you're when you're artistic, you have to learn about the tools to create the art. Yeah. But there's a level, there's a limit. And with me, what tends to happen is you'll plug everything in and nothing will work. And then I'll get all cross and I'll go through all the thing and get wound up. And then I'll go outside and I'll come back in and I'll turn it off and on again and it just works. And there's never an explanation. There's never a logic fix. It just, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Yeah. And then the problem I've got is that I've got this old Mac. Honestly, it's clockwork. Honestly, you have to wind it up. There's a little hamster in a wheel making it go round. You think it's a fan going round. It's not. It's a little hamster in a wheel going, fucking hell. Processing power. That's my processor. Ooh, my little legs. Processor. Like that. And my audio is not quite perfect. It's not quite perfect. It might sound all right, but it's not perfect because I'm using a little cheap USB mic for the first time ever. And I've got really expensive, where are they? They're not even in this room. I've got really expensive mics that I bought for doing ASMR, and I can't run them into the Mac and talk to you through them because the audio interface. Right, now we're getting off track. I might as well tell you though. The audio interface, you plug things into it and the Mac can hear all different things, yeah? Wonderful. If you're recording on Logic, great, it works. If you're streaming, it's like, oh, hang on, mate. You're going to all these things. I'm just going to play them all at once. How about that? Did you want that mic? How about you want the desktop sound and this mic as well? Just put it all on. Like, the Mac just can't handle it. And for streaming, I am going to get a powerful gaming PC. I'm going to learn what I need, and then I'm just going to go out and buy it. I'm saving up the money, and when it comes to I'm looking towards August for the release of New World. We're going to buy that. It's going to solve all these tech problems, and we'll do all this stuff. We'll create servers then. We'll mine Bitcoin, for crying out loud. If I've got a big, powerful gaming PC, it better be able to mine me some Bitcoin. Huh? That sounds about right, doesn't it? Servers. Yeah, servers. What about a Minecraft server? I've heard of one of them. I've heard of it. Don't know what it means. I know that in World of Warcraft, if you want to play with your friends and you don't want to play with the rest of the World of Warcraft, then you can have a private server. And I've seen on the documentary that they've got this like huge room with all these like drives. Oh man, I've got hard drives. I've got hard drives kicking around, but they're like these drives. And he pulled one out and he was like, that's Feralina. I was like, what? That's it. That thing is running. And it's in that room. Now you can pull that baby out. That's Feralina. There's your characters on there. That's all your progress. I hope you've got a backup of that. Anyway. We'll create servers, yeah. We'll do the audio thing and we'll get people talking on the stream, but on the computer that can handle it. And if I try it on this, I guarantee, within about 10 minutes, you won't be able to hear me or you won't be able to hear them. And it will just be one of those nonsense streams where nothing works. And the good people that I would love to talk to will think this is a waste of time and never come back. So we will we'll save it until we're more technically proficient. That's what we'll do. We're building up on stream. We're pushing towards affiliate, and then from there we're climbing the next step of the mountain towards the gaming PC. And then once we've done that, we're like, I don't know what you have to do next. Like start transmogrifying my face like Code Miko or something. I don't know. The consensus among most paleontologists. Imagine if this was at school. Imagine if this was your art class. Imagine if this was at school and you had to just put up with this rubbish. Imagine that. There's a little bit of plant life on there then. Imagine that was your art class. I've got a little bit of chocolate brownie there. Just saw that. Spotted that. It's honestly, it's chocolate brownie. Spotted that just over there on that plate. I thought, oh. It's only from today. It's not old. It's not old. It's not bad. Not a tramp. Not a tramp. Do you know what, right? We're never going to learn about the history of art. I watched a documentary about tramps, about people who sit on the street and beg. And they were getting fed, man. They were getting... Man, that's just patriarchy. Just... Ugh. Don't like that. People... they were getting fed. They were getting pizzas. They were sat by this off-licence. People kept coming out with like cans of lager. Do you want a Sprite? I bought you a pizza. Like, it was like Friday night and everyone was out on the town. This was before COVID. And all the people were buying kebabs and like, oh, here, do you want the chips? Oh, do you want this? Oh, I bought you this. I'm like, what? No, I don't eat like that. No, they were getting so much stuff. And you know what? They didn't want any of it. They just wanted to get drunk and take heroin. They were binning off the pizzas. They were binning them off. And other tramps had to go and get them out of the bin. I was like, don't just throw them in the bin. You know what it's like. Hand them on. Pass them on. God, don't even... Me eating a bit of this, that's not trampy. Not even. Taking the hat off now. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Come on, kids. Come to my factory. Do you like sweets? Johnny Depp there. Johnny Depp. Come on, Amber, get in the factory. Go in the factory. If you don't, you know what's getting, you know what's coming. I'm not joking about that. Whoa, don't. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. Domestic violence is not a joke. Johnny really hurt his finger, didn't he? So it's not funny. Right. The consensus among most paleontologists and paleoanthropologists is at 7 o'clock. God, I'm gonna only be allowed to do a little bit more before I have to go and service my dog. You don't service a dog, but you know what I mean. They split away from gorillas in Africa about 8 million years ago. What's going on now? Why do we need to know about that? We're beyond that. 7 million years ago, an earlier divergence. The early hominids included species like Australopithecus. Yeah. Australopithecus. Australopithecus. About 2.5 million years ago, some humans began to make stone tools, like crude choppers. Here come a chopper! The choppers! I used to go to this club called the Q Club, and there's a MC, you know, MC, at the front with the microphone. He's got the microphone, he's like directing you. He's like the stage manager of the whole gig. He's like, have a dance. You can chill out. The bar's over there. DJ, would you select me another tune? Sort of thing. That's what the MC does. MC Lenny. Lenny used to say there was a record that had a helicopter sound in it, and whenever it would play, Lemmy would bawl on about the choppers. Here come the choppers! Sort of thing. Anyway. Well, we're never going to get there, are we? We're never going to get there. You're going to tune in. What's going to happen is you'll fall asleep while I'm talking. Fall asleep. Just nod off just a little bit because I'm rambling on about any old bullshit. And I've sworn. Now I'm going to have to tell YouTube it's not suitable for advertising. Right, so look. We're rambling on. You're going to just drift off. And then you'll wake up and I'll be saying, and then that's why Banksy painted the way he did. And that'll be the end of art. We'll have got all the way here. In fact, Banksy's not even the most recent, is he? What's the most modern thing? Digital, Elon Musk, pig brain, tattooed digital advertising in your brain. And I'll be explaining that. And you'll think, where did the last 200 years go? It won't be me. It'll be my son's son's son. Who will have watched my old broadcasts from prehistory. And he'll be saying the same sort of inane chat like I am about what I said back then, about how, they'll be doing it holographically, and they'll be saying about how crude this internet was. My daughter's, yeah, although not my daughter's daughter, because I don't think my daughter should be having sex. Yeah, I want to leave a good world for our kids, but not our kids' kids, because I don't think they should be having sex. I don't want to leave a good world for our children, but not my children's children, because I don't think my children should be having sex. Okay, well, that's the same joke 3 times, but I love it. I just think it's good. That was a good one. We did a good one. We should have a bell to ring, shouldn't we, when we tell a joke? We made a joke. I done a joke. About 2.5 million years. I'm going to have to try and edit this. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to edit a convenient, just an art thing out of this, am I? No, it's not going to happen. About 2.5 million years ago, some of us made stone tools, right? We had our choppers, and the new species like Homo habilis, Homo rudolfensis, Rudolph, emerged. So a new species emerged. 2 million years BCE, more species of human appeared, such as Homo erectus. Is that us? Are we Homo erectus? I've forgotten now. I've forgotten which one we are. Oh, it's good, isn't it, if you want to do an educational stream and you can't remember the basics, like, are you a Homo habilis or a Homo erectus? I might be a Homo functus. I was going to try and work the word funky in, but I'm trying to translate it into Latin. I don't think there is a Latin word for funky. Funcum. But look, we're all about now. We're Homo erectus. Oh, that's it. Spreading. We're around. About 1 million years ago. So even then, before then, there were stone tools. The stone tools were like, they had choppers. They had hand axes. 2.5 million years ago. God, 2.5 million years ago, you had a chopper. I imagine it would have just been so brutal, wouldn't it? So, maybe it wasn't everyone. Maybe everyone didn't run around with these big stones ready to bludgeon and chop. Maybe it was just a certain culture. We'll have to ask the paleoanthropologists about that. But certainly, it seems quite brutal, doesn't it? Chopping and cudgeling. Anyway, the archaic Homo sapiens species that created the Bhimbekta petroglyphs and cupules in India, that's the oldest art in the world. We know about these petroglyphs. With the petroglyph is the Greek for of the earth, rock, petra, and glyph, carving. I think that was it. And the cupules, we talked about these in the last episode. So the oldest art on earth. Only between 1 million and 1.5 million, only approximately 1.5 million years ago. Million. And onwards, we get to the Neanderthals, the engravings at the caves. We covered this, yeah. Finally, at about 100,000 years ago, anatomically modern man emerged from somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa. And like that's the patriarchy there, like their predecessors and man, why does it have to be man? Can't it be anatomically modern humans emerged from somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa and like their predecessors headed north? I mean, I do love this website from the Visual Arts Cork. I do love, when I say love, I don't say it lightly. I don't think you should love things that aren't, I think you should love people, and I don't think you really should love websites. But I have such a great affection for the fact they've shared this information with the world freely. Just a shame that I haven't thought that through so carefully when they're writing it. Had someone cross-check that, maybe. Anyway, they headed north. They reached North Africa, and by about 70,000 years ago, they were established in Europe. No later than the beginning of the Paleolithic. So these people were all through Europe. Yeah, we got you. Sculptors, painters and sculptors belonging to modern man were responsible for the glorious cave paintings in France and the Iberian Peninsula, the Venus. Yeah, we got you. You're repeating yourself now, baby. Stone tools, the key to civilization, culture and art. They're telling us about the different tools. We're not into tools, man. We're not into tools. So it's there for you to read, but I'm just going to skim past that because we're not into tools. Tool cultures. This is what we were saying. These cultures didn't have much artistic, much flair to share. They were chopping. And you know what tools and flaked knives look like. We're jumping through these. The Mouse-tarians, the only one that we're going to... Because we did look at these earlier as well, didn't we? We're reconfirming our knowledge here. But the only ones I wanted to look at again were the Mouse-tarians, because I like the name. And it's from Le Musetier, so maybe it's not Mouse-tarian. Mouse-tarian. I mean, for me, that's Mouse-tarian, but now I know that it's Le Musetier, a French word. They must be Moustérien or something like that. Mouster. So it's not so cool. They're not mice. They had specialised shape tools, barbed and serrated edges. That sounds nasty. New blade designs to reduce the need for humans to use their teeth to perform tasks, thus contributing to a diminution. They had smaller faces. All right. We're going to have to look at this. Copy. Paste. Does it all, doesn't it? Copy paste. And when they came up with copy paste, I wonder if they realised it was going to be as popular as it turned out to be. Just pictures of rock. Just pictures of rock. There's a few faces there, isn't there? Yeah. Don't know why they look like that. Who's chosen to do it this way? But that's them. That's the Mouse-tarians. They are a little more rodent-like, aren't they? A little smaller. But they reckon, couldn't load the image, they reckon that the fact they developed these bits of rock, and here's another thing we've learned. This is good. We're learning today. We're learning. The fact they developed that. Developed. Imagine that. Imagine that being a software developer these days and the amount of work and brain power that has to go into it. This was the equivalent. This was in development. They had a series of other rocks that weren't quite good enough, that didn't quite work out. They'd had a few failed projects that they'd worked on with other people. This was in development, right? Have you seen I'm developing. But they did. They developed the concepts and the ideas. But because they did that, we didn't have to use our teeth as much. I'm saying we, they, the Mouse-tarians, we, the humans. We're all together in this. We're all in this together. Let's have a little, oh, look, there's another little bit of that. You know, I don't want to be eating on stream. I don't think it's polite, but I do want to eat it. But I don't want to eat it on stream, but it's polite if I do. No one knows. No one can say for sure. Because they did that, this is what we're talking about, eating. Because they did that, the tough things that they thought we were eating, we didn't have to anymore. Because they did that, we didn't have to get into the soy milk, to get into the... We didn't have scissors, so you couldn't just open up your crisps with scissors. Your chips, if you're in America, your bag of chips. People complain when I open them with scissors, but come on, man. No, you run the risk. You do this, it's a risk. Don't tell me you've never ruined your bag of chips, your bag of crisps, by and they've gone. Don't tell me you've never got that thing where it's gone down the side and now it's opening sideways and someone has one and the whole bag goes. Don't tell me that's not happened. Man, scissors. Scissors. You want no scissors. You want that top snipped smooth. Smoothly off, just clean and open. That's what you want. But they couldn't. So they had to use their teeth to open their chips. But then they come up with this and that saved their teeth. Right? So now they don't have to use their teeth for all the jobs anymore. They used to have to use their teeth for washing up. They used to have to use their teeth for doing the cleaning their clothes. They used to have to use their teeth for changing the channel on the telly. They used to have to use the teeth. They didn't even have a remote. It wasn't changing the channel like with a remote. They had to go over to the telly and like that. So they developed these stone tools, and that made us use our teeth a lot less. And apparently that made our jaws smaller. All of us, humanity. Or maybe just their little tribe, and it didn't spread. Maybe I'm ascribing something to the whole of humanity that is not fair. Maybe Mousterians, didn't spread their genes as wide. But of course they did. They're part of the mix. Everyone's part of the mix. So the size of our jaws have been influenced by the stone tools that meant we didn't have to use our teeth. That's really interesting, isn't it? That's mad interesting. We're learning stuff, and not just about art. But we're learning that tools can change our physiology. Our culture can change our physiology. In Mental Health Monday, we learn that our thoughts can influence our feelings, and our feelings can influence our behaviour, and our behaviour can influence our thoughts, and it all interplays. We learn that together. But now we're talking about something even more incredible. That our technology, because that's what that was at the time, wasn't it? That was the tech. Elon Musk is there with his stone. I've been developing mine for years, and Elon Musk just comes along with his super stone. What's it got? Two sides to it. Elon Musk comes along with his super stone. That changed the way we physically are. So who knows? We have these jokes, don't we, that in the future humanity's going to have a big thumb because doing all this, but it is factually correct to say that it may well change our physiology in the future. Application of tools. The Mousterium, a little bit loose here because I'm just going to have to complain about this print production. In print production here, we've got the Paleolithic era, the culture, the tool making process, then the flake tool culture. I think it's a bit loose, these headings. They're not all. Are they all headed chapters? That one's got a bigger heading. Just random little chapters with headings. The Blombos Caves, we looked at those in Cape Town. We looked at those. The stone tools, whipping through it. Magdalenian cave painting. Bison and deer. So we're still talking about these same sort of things. That's what we've been talking about today. We looked at the Magdalenians. Australia, we talked about that. Upper Paleolithic rock engraving. Upper Paleolithic relief sculpture. Tool technology. Here we go. Here's something new. Here's something different. Last 10 minutes now. We'll do Oregon. Hey Scotty, why did you decide? Someone asked me, I told you this yesterday on Mental Health Monday, but I'll quickly say it again. Why did you decide to do your Mental Health Monday stream on a Monday when you yourself suffer with the blues, and every Monday you feel cross and angry and you don't want to get out of bed? Why did you do mental health support on the day when you are at your seemingly most susceptible to suffering with mental health? And I said, because everyone else feels bad on a Monday, and that's the day that I think they feel their worst, so I want to help them. I didn't think about how I would feel, I just thought about how they feel. So, Scotty, why did you decide to do the history of art? Because I thought it was good. I thought it's something we could all learn about together. I thought it'd be valuable. I thought it's not really been talked about on stream, and it's something that I love and I'm interested in. I'm not an expert, never claimed to be, but I think through doing this, we will probably learn a lot. And I have a lot of not expert knowledge, a lot of knowledge on other stuff, and it all comes together. And I can be, I can talk authoritatively on certain aspects of this, so that's okay. But I didn't realise they were going to put all these words in. I didn't realise every third word was going to be something I've never encountered and can't pronounce. When are they going to start talking about things that I know about, like a fresco? When are they going to mention a fresco? When's someone going to do a fresco? I just want to see some contemporary figures. Orignation. Yeah, orignation. No one's here to tell me no. Orignation. One of several cultures which coexisted in the Upper Paleolithic. It was also practiced as far away as Southwest Asia, and its name derives from the type site near the village of Aurignac. In France, G is different. Aurignac. In the Haute-Garonne, France. So again, these French. There's a lot of French, isn't there? There's a lot of French early. Maybe it's because we had more resources in Europe to spend on archaeology and stuff like that through our sort of, you know, how we went and did that imperial business and took all this stuff from the rest of the world and enslaved them. You know, maybe that helped us to have more resources in the West to spend on agriculture. I didn't do it. It's not me. Or maybe there was just more stuff, you know, in the ground that we found. I don't know. I do know that chocolate milk is nice. Chocolate soy milk. Chocolate. It's not even got no cow hurty. Chocolate. Its tools included sophisticated bone implements and orignation art, and it's a clickable. I don't want to download anything. Here we go. Look, boom. We looked at this. We've already seen it, didn't we? Cave paintings. We've already seen them. Boom. We're back here. Soldier and we've seen all these people. We've seen all of them. We're pushing on. Mesolithic. We've hit the Mesolithic. Hooray! We made it. And really, today's episode was going to be about the Mesolithic. Yeah, champion. I actually think that's brilliant. Today's episode was going to be about the Mesolithic, and the overview and recap took us. How long has this been going on? An hour and 40 minutes. Oh my days. And I'll tell you something else as well. If we do an hour and 40 minutes, I don't look at the number of viewers. I do it because it's good that we're doing it. You can drop in and out. That's fine. It's being recorded by Twitch, so I can edit it and put it on YouTube as well. Brilliant. So like it's not like, oh no, there's only two people. I'm really happy the two of you are here, and also I think it's even better for us because we get this more personal time when we build the stream in these early days. Brilliant. Happy. But if Twitch it wants me to have an average viewer number of higher than 3 to become an affiliate. So if I do these long broadcasts and there's not so many people here, I'm actually making things worse for myself, for all of us. But it's okay. It's good. I'm enjoying myself. We're enjoying it together. I'm enjoying it with you. So that's what we got up to. We got up to the Mesolithic, and the Mesolithic is where we see that gold bull and Persia and things like that. Look, we start to see these. Is this idol? Mesopotamia is where we start to get the. These are still Venuses. Mesopotamia is where we start to get the gold bull. So we push on past Neolithic, portable, ceramics, agriculture. And there, look, ramming a thicket right there. From the Bronze Age. So we need to get up to the metalworking. That's what we need to do next. So I promised you a ram in a thicket, and I ain't delivering. I ain't delivering a ram in a thicket tomorrow or the day after. Because what sometimes happens now is that I edit this, and when I've got the editing program open, if I turn on the camera for stream, it says, "Oh, you want to use that for your editing program, do you?" And I say, "No, I don't." And it says, "All right, then turn it off." I'm like, "No, don't. Keep it on and use it for stream." And it's like, "No, you can't, man. You can't. You're editing or you're on stream. You can't do both." So it may do that to me, and I may not be able to just turn it on tomorrow, but in the coming days, we will become more and more regular until we hit that in our stride as we take affiliate and we carry that flag forward through to gathering a crew. And then we wave that flag as the summertime comes with our new gaming PC, which will open up features and things that I can do, like Zoom calls and stuff like that. We put a sofa over there, and when everyone gets their vaccination, we have people sit on it and talk to us. We play 2-player co-op games with my friends, who I will introduce you to, the people that live close to me that I can bring here. And finally, we plant that flag firmly in New World as we are an established streamer with a Mental Health Monday every week, an art history and conversation thing vibe going on. We talk about computer games as art. I show you the work I've been doing interviewing game designers and developers, and that film that I made. We show you that, and from there, Elon Musk gives me a call and tells me that he's pushing up my Dogecoin even further, and I no longer have to worry financially. That's what we do. That's what we do. I don't, probably not with the Elon Musk bit, yeah, but the rest of it, yeah. So I thank you. I thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, the day after, whichever day it is. Sorry that I'm not so regular in these early stages, but we are making this happen together. So I thank you. You be good, my little puckos. You be good.